Hi, my name is Jessica Walker, and this is my tribute speech today on Abraham Lincoln. This is my audience. And again, it's on Abraham Lincoln. Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived of liberty, dedication of the proposition that men were created equal. This line, as we as Americans hear over and over in school, and once we hear it, it brings up the image of our greatest president, Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809 in Hodgeville, Kentucky. He was once the 16th president of the United States, and he served from March 1861 until he was killed in office by John Wilkes Booth on April 1865. He was a very integral part of ending slavery and the Civil War. The tribute to our 16th president, who was not only the main component of freeing our slaves, but also a huge part of the Civil War. We will be going over briefly his early life, his life in office, and the tragic circumstances of his death. Lincoln's early life was not easy, but it shaped him into the man that could lead our country. This is the early life of Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln was born in a log cabin in Hardin County, Kentucky, to Thomas Lincoln and Nancy Hanks Lincoln. At the age 9, his mother died at the age 34. This caused issues between father and son that were already bad relationship. Lincoln eventually moved out on his own and began a long list of work, from manual labor, postmaster and shopkeeper, and general store owner. He was now living in Illinois. During this time, the Black Hawk War broke out in 1832 between the U.S. and the Native Americans. The local volunteers elected Lincoln to be the captain. With this position, this was the starting point of his political career. As an adult, Abraham Lincoln was elected to the Illinois State Legislature in 1834. He was a member of the Whig Party. He supported many of their ideas such as tariffs and government-sponsored infrastructure. These ideas brought him to the early views on slavery. At first, he did not think slavery was wrong, but he thought it was an economic downweight. Supporting information, Lincoln's law career and pregnancy. Lincoln became a lawyer in 1837 in Springfield, Illinois. He began to practice for John T. Stewart's law firm. During this time, he had a hard time in the area of love. The woman he was engaged to, Anne Rutledge, died of the fever at the age of 22. In 1844, Abraham Lincoln partnered with William Helgren and began practicing law with him. Lincoln served a single term in the House of Representatives from 1847 to 1849. He spoke against the Mexican-American War and Taylor for president in 1848. This made him very unpopular with his contingency and made him not run again. Lincoln then married Mary Todd in 1842 and had 4 children. Only one survived. In March 1861, he was then elected to the presidency. This is Lincoln's presidency and death. In April 12, 1861, the Civil War began. He was a successful president because he as a wise old man, and people were drawn to this and trusted him. He used the time to work on the freedom of slaves and many other issues that were of great importance of the time. Soon, the war was virtually over on 1865. The Reconstruction soon began as early as 1863. On April 14, 1865, Lincoln was at the Ford Theater watching a play with his wife, Mary Todd. And as the play began, John Wilkes Booth climbed up to the balcony, and behind Abraham Lincoln, and he was a Southern sympathizer and shot and killed Lincoln. There was a manhunt for 3 days, and where he was caught in a barn. Lincoln has been called one of our greatest presidents, and I have gone over a little as to why many say that. Lincoln was born and raised in Kentucky. He then moved from job to job till the Black Hawk War, where he became a captain. Soon he was involved in the legislation, and then went to law, then to the House, and soon the Republican Party. Soon he was married and became president. Sadly, he saw through the Civil War and helped end slavery, but like most presidents who try to make social and racial change, he was murdered for it. Lincoln was assassinated in 1865 by John Wilkes Booth. I will leave you with one more line from a letter to Harry Pierce in 1859. I believe this sums Lincoln up the best. This is a world of compensations. He who would be no slave must consent to have no slave. Those who deny freedom to others deserved it not for themselves, and under a just God cannot long retain it. Thank you, and have a good night.